There are many other ahadith regarding the malhama which I brought with me, but due to a lack of time, we will move on to other ahadith and other subjects. One of those signs prior to the appearance of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is that the Arabs will perish. Now, Sheikh Imran Hosein says that refers to the nuclear war that he believes will take place very soon. But this is not referring to that. Imagine the state of the world at the time of the conquering of Constantinople, that Armageddon shall take place, and 3 years prior to the appearance of a Dajjal, the water of the world shall become scarce. Meaning, there shall be a scarcity in water. Water shall disappear. The hadith states very clearly that water shall go back into the ground prior to the appearance of a Dajjal. There will be a famine worldwide. And after Armageddon, this is halakul Arab, the perishing of the Arabs. So what does the hadith state? The hadith states that Sharik radiyallahu anha heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, لا يفرن الناس من الدجال في الجبال. People shall run away from a Dajjal into the mountains. So, if you remember, we mentioned the route that a Dajjal shall take place, it shall walk. So, here we have Iran. From Asfahan, from this region. So a Dajjal shall appear, he shall march down into different towns, into Basra. You see here in Iraq, Basra. When he reaches a gap between Iraq and Syria, that's when he will announce his rule. So he shall announce his rule in a gap between Syria and Iraq. There is a hadith which states that he shall appear in a khulla bayn al-Iraqi wa Sham, which is a gap between Syria and Iraq. When he declares his rule, what will the Arabs do? La yafirranna an-nasu, that the people shall run to the mountains. قالت Sharik radiyallahu anha states, قلت يا رسول الله, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, فأين العرب يومئذ, where will the Arabs be during that time? قال هم قليل, they shall be small in number. The hadith states هم قليل. So this shows that the sign of the end of times, that the Arabs will be small in number, has not taken place. But when will this take place? After al-malhamatul kubra, the great war has taken place. After the great war has taken place, and we do not disagree with the Sheikh Imran, with the possibility of the use of nuclear weapons, of chemical weapons, that shall decrease the world population, as well as the water disappearing. That water will disappear, and the number of Arabs shall be a small amount. This also explains the hadith of Ya'juj and Ma'juj that we shall cover inshallah, that Ya'juj and Ma'juj shall be multiple groups, meaning huge in number. How shall they be huge in number in comparison to the world population today? The answer is that the population of the world would have decreased due to famine. And in the hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu an, the hadith states that 3 years prior to, in a Tabarani, 3 years prior to the appearance of a Dajjal, when water will become scarce, the population of the world shall decrease. He doesn't use that exact word, but what he mentions is that the plantations shall become dry and animals shall die due to thirst, meaning there will be famine, international famine. So the hadith states Also from Talha bin Malik, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن من اقتراب الساعة هلاك العرب. This is in At-Tirmidhi. From one of the signs of the end of times is the perishing of the Arabs. هلاك العرب. That the Arabs shall perish. That particular sign shall take place after the conquering of Constantinople. Now, some people ask regarding al-Imam al-Mahdi radiyallahu an and Ghazwatul Hind, especially Pakistani nationalists. They seem to have an obsession with Ghazwatul Hind, thinking that Pakistan will take over India and will do Ghazwatul Hind on behalf of Imam al-Mahdi and Sayyiduna Isa alayhi salam. Is this true? The answer is, we will take our answer from the hadith. What does the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say? This particular hadith is from Nu'aym bin Hammad's book Al-Fitan. The hadith is يَغْزُ قَوْمٌ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي الْهِنْدِ. A group of people shall invade India. فَيَفْتَحُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall make them victorious. حَتَّى يُلْقُوا بِمُلُوكِ الْهِنْدِ مَغْلُولِينَ فِي السَّلَاسِلِ. That they shall tie up the leaders of India in chains. يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ ذُنُوبَهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall forgive their sins. You can understand why Pakistani people will like this hadith. فَيَنْصَرِفُونَ إِلَى الشَّامِ. Then they shall go to Syria. فَيَجِدُونَ عِيسَى بْنَ مَرْيَمَ. And they shall find after this, meaning after some time, that Isa bin Maryam alayhi salam has descended. Now this hadith is not necessarily authentic. Why? Because remember, the ahadith in Al-Fitan need scrutiny. Because many of the ahadiths are weak and many of them are mawdu', forged. But the authentic hadith states, عِصَابَتَانِ مِنْ أُمَّتِي. Two groups from a nation. أَحْرَزَهُمُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى مِنَ النَّارِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect them from the fire. عِصَابَةٌ تَغْزُو الْهِنْدِ. A group that shall invade India. وَعِصَابَةٌ تَكُونُ مَعَ عِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ. And a group of people that shall be with Isa bin Maryam alayhi salam. Does this mean that modern day Pakistan shall invade India? The answer is no. Modern day Pakistan is a secular state that uses Islam when it suits its needs and leaves Islam when it does not suit its needs. As many examples there are in recent history as well, what they do on a regular basis with the population of Pakistan. They employ Islam when it suits them, like other rulers in the Muslim world, and they leave Islam when it does not suit them. But al-Imam al-Mahdi radiyallahu anhu will rule eastern regions. He will rule eastern regions. Now the previous hadith that I recited mentions a group of people that will do ghazwa to Hind, meaning they will invade India, but these people will be under the government of al-Imam al-Mahdi radiyallahu anhu. We do not see in any near future that Nawaz Sharif or whoever the future leaders of Pakistan have any allegiance to Islam as they should. Meaning we do not declare them disbelievers, but they do not rule in accordance with Islam. Meaning their loyalty to Islam is not displayed in the way they rule the country.